Hello, it's Nick. Haven't been seeing you for a while. I wish you're happy to see me. And today I will tell you about Ukrainian American Concordia University organizational behavior and how I feel in this university, how everything is connected. So let's go on. And the first topic is Ukrainian American Concordia University's culture and it's built, first of all, let me mention, before I start, let me mention important things that I will share my thoughts, which are not, argued with some sources. Yeah, it's everything I took from my head. So I think it will be interesting for you to hear something from a simple student of our university. So let's start. And today I will tell you about right now, I will tell you about the culture. So, in our university, it is built around students and professors. The main idea is to build friendly relations among all students and professors. Here is to still save the respect for the aged people. As we have students all over the world, the important part of our university's culture is to speak English even outside the classroom to make sure that each student feels as the part of the community, even if they're from another countries. Then regarding the university's dean's office, which is taking an active part in creating the culture by attentively listening the ideas from all of students and supporting financially and morally the most important and elaborated ideas. For example, from my personal experience, I've launched the startup project called Launchpad Startup Club with a few girls from our university, and I can say that Concordia, the Dean's office exactly were supporting us as much as they can. They did financial raises for the staff which was needed for the for this startup club exactly. So I can make sure that they're listening for students. They know how to attract them, how to catch the attention, and not only about the financial aid. They helped us. Even with ideas and some moral help on how to be more confident, etc. Also, I know about the Business Media Network, which exists in our university, which is also the program which which Dean's Office supports, and which is also kind of, which is building and creating the culture. So I think that this moment is so important and very interesting, yes, about our university. And moving next, I will tell you about the approach to motivation of students. So from my point of view, it's quite obvious because our university built a few approaches to motivate students to study because it's obvious because they didn't reinvent the wheel. However, these methods which our university is using are popular among all educational institutions in the world. So the first one is the motivation for the students on a free program, which means they are not paying anything for to study in our uni. It works in the next way. If the student is so inventive and hardworking to receive only A points, it will mean that they could continue free studying. While if they receive at least 1 mark which is lower than A, means that they will be replaced to a paid program. So this motivation for them and motivation for the students on a paid program, as I am, is also quite obvious. If I'll receive a lot of F points, it will mean that I'm going to say bye bye to my studying, and I will be kicked out. So Yes, our motivation as the students is not to get kicked from the university. I think it's great motivation to catch new opportunities and study and learn. So the next organizational communication is also quite simple here because we're communicating with the dean office through the email. They're always replying to students in 24 hours, which is important. Also, we all know the number of rectors. Yeah, and this is why we could also call to the dean's office and ask each question personally. And the third way is to, of course, to visit the office literally in the university's placement. I mean, palace. So the next point is the group and intergroup relations, which is built among the students from my point of view. Yes, because university helped to create these groups and then they're growing and developing by themselves. So this is why our relations are built totally friendly with all the students from all of the groups. You know, we do not have such bad competitions between each other. We are helping, and of course, this communication is built mostly in Telegram chats. As we have the groups for each subject, and as well we're creating these groups of Telegram groups. I mean, for the it is already created for the whole course for the whole course students. Yes, so it's quite helpful because there we can share some of our ideas that like ask for the help, for example, with some tasks. Yes, and even share some jokes. So it's also kind of important. Yes, moving next to the topic handling of individual differences. From my point of view, I've never seen any kind of racism or something. So I think it's a good reason why Concordia is handling all of these individual differences between each other. It's mostly about the color of skin, if we're talking about ordination. If we're talking about the point, like the worldview or something, as I mentioned before, Concordia is also helping us with this, and they're supporting our ideas. So it's always, it's always we always did this in the best way. So that's it. Moving next. Human capital development in our university is also important stuff, and I will tell you about not only about the Concordia University, but in the most cases, because such question is important. Look, yet for public colleges and universities, as Concordia is maximizing the formation of human capital across several segments of the labor force is as vital as a mission as research and development. For example, college degrees lead to higher wages for individuals and correspond to even larger gains at the population level, which makes expanding access to higher education an attractive, if not essential even, proposition for state governments. Accordingly, most public higher education systems are intentionally designed to ensure spatially, socially, and economically accessible higher education for citizens, and not even for only for them, also for students all over the world in our university. Yes, so which they often accomplish through a multi-tiered institutional structure. This multi-level design, while effective, increases the complexity, I mean, of the higher education, regional development relationship, and may limit the applicability of certain conclusions gleaned from studies based on a single type of institution. For example, how research institutions attract students, they educate them, and they help to increase the region's retention of graduates will likely differ from how small bachelors or community colleagues implement. In simple words, it means that it's not matter the size, the large of the community. If it is built inside, if the whole community is thinking, and I mean it has the same goal and is looking in the one way, it will mean that it will reach the success. And in addition, much of the existing scholarships on human capital development examines one stage in this process, potentially leading to some distortions in our understanding of the impact of colleges and universities on the region's human capital over the long term. So my also point of view is that each capital is human, like we're giving this, and as a students, for example, from my side, I'm paying to the university, so for students' money and their parents' money, university is developing, so that's it. And then I will tell you about the emotional intelligence development, which is also kind of important topic for the students who are entering the adult life, because the most part of the students are entering this from the age of 17 or 18, where all these teenager problems are are going back for a little bit, and the adult life problems are changing them. So this is very important for the university to help students as much as they could to increase this emotional intelligence level. And I think that Concordia did something for this, and I will tell you how. Yes, but before, I would like to speak a little bit more about what is exactly emotional intelligence, to make sure we're speaking about the one thing. So, from my point of view, it refers to how well a person can identify, control, and evaluate emotions, both in themselves and in others. Some researchers think that these skills are genetic, but most believe they can be learned or at least strengthened. I also agree with this, and also according to Margaret Andrews, a former associate dean at Harvard University, he said that emotional intelligence is critical in building and maintaining relationships and influencing others. It is a key skills that help people throughout their career and wherever they sit in an organizational structure. So I agree with this because from my point of view, I think Concordia helped me for sure to develop my emotional intellect, because without it, it would be much harder for me to develop the relations with people inside or outside the university. For example, I'm working, so my work is circled about the connections with people. Who are these people? They're my colleagues and my clients. So this emotional intelligence helped me to understood them very well, and to make sure that I found this perfect match with them. So and increasing the business's revenue, but it's not the case. Regarding the question how Concordia helps us to as a students helps us to develop this emotional intelligence, I think answer is also quite obvious, because Concordia University is already, as the institution, they're putting us in the situation where we need to solve everything by our ideas and thoughts. For example, the teamwork. It was the time, like a few years ago, when I was visiting university. Like it was our first month on the first course, which is the hardest and the most, attractive, because you see all of this stuff for the first time. So when I visited this, already it was like one of our first lectures, and we did some classwork, and we already started with the group work, where there were teams for 5 people among them. So you need to find the something, you need to find this the language between these people, yeah, and to find out how to make sure that your team will do as much as they can to win the competition, yes, and to win these points. So such situations are developing your emotional intellect, because you find these ideas, for example, when you did some stuff for the project, and then you see the reaction of your mates, and you already know, okay, this is not working, and when you're reflexing, you realize that, for example, this phrase was not so clear for my colleagues, so they didn't understood this, and I should do a little bit a different way. And this is yes, important, and as any community, I think any social basis, yeah, which is around each university, I think it helps us to reach this level of emotional intellect. And once again, I want to thank Concordia for this. And moving next, I will finish, because we've spoken about everything today. And my final idea, my final thought is that Concordia did a great job, because, as if you remember previous topics, we are leading to speak English, to make sure each student from all of the world is connected. So it is really important for me that I can find connections with people all over the world, and this is how the culture is, yeah. And then we've spoken about the emotional intellect, the handling with individuals, etc. So I want to thank you for the attention. You see my contact here, my email, my number, the city I'm located right now. So if you have any questions, you want to speak with me more about this, always feel free to contact. And I wish you a great day, and hope to see you sometimes in the future. And bye bye. Слава Україні!